everybody, it's your friendly neighborhood farmer, Free Range Kara, and I realized I've never talked to you guys about, hold on sir. I've never talked to you about how I acquired my firstborn son, aka Ritz. Okay, he wants to go do other things, so I'll continue the story without him. I woke him up from a nap for this video, so I'm so sorry. To him, not to you guys. But I'm sorry you had to see him in his grumpy state. Normally he's very sweet. But Ritz first came into my life a year or two into me working at my current job. My coworker used to live in northern Minneapolis, and she would bring in stray cats for us to spay or neuter and then either release them back into the neighborhood if they were too wild to keep as pets, or if they seemed nice, we would try to get them adopted out so that they didn't have to live on the streets anymore. Ritz was one of those cats. At the time, my apartment didn't allow pets, so I was like, well, I can't really take him home. I love him to death, despite his flaws. Because what Ritz used to do when he was younger is he would get very overstimulated, and so one moment he'd be fine, he'd just be walking around, he'd just be doing his cat thing, and then something would flip in his brain, and you'd see his tail start to swish like this. And then he'd like flatten his ears and he would lunge at you and like try to bite you. And just out of the blue, and so we chalked it up to overstimulation, would like go put him in a room for him to just calm himself down, and then he'd be fine after that. So I loved him with all my heart, but I couldn't have him at the time because my apartment didn't allow pets. So we, well, before I get to that part of the story, I'll mention, oh, he's such a little stinker. He's very food motivated, as most cats are. He was in a room with one of our doctors while she was eating her lunch. And instead of going for her lunch, he went under the couch in the room, dug through her purse, pulled out a pill vial, cracked it open with his mouth, like his teeth. He just cracked open a pill vial and ate this dog medication that was beef flavored. He could smell it through the pill vial, through the purse, and he pulled it out, broke it open, and ate it. And this medication is, of course, super toxic to cats, because of course it is. Luckily, she had a very small dog, so it wasn't like a huge dog's dose, like it wasn't like an 80-pound dog, it was like I think he was like 20 pounds. And luckily he was at the vet clinic when it happened, so he got put on fluids, and we gave him some activated charcoal to help remove the toxin from his body. You don't want to have them throw up in that case. You just got just inactivate the toxin and it'll get out of his body. And we kept him on IV fluids for a couple days, and boy, free healthcare for this stray cat. But he got through it just fine. It didn't affect his liver or his kidneys since we got to it so quickly. She never brought her dog's medication into the room with her to lunch after that. So we kept looking for a home for this guy, and eventually one of our clients was like, oh, you know, I used to have a cat, and I think my dog would like to have a cat too. The dogs lived with cats as well. She's like, oh, he looks really nice. I'd like to take him home. And so we said, okay, here's a trial run for you. You can keep him for 14 days and we'll see how he does. I think she brought him back on day 7 and basically told us that he's too much. She has this, I think 70 or 80 pound Swiss Mountain Dog. Beautiful dog. But he had this dog walking on eggshells around him because of that thing where he was like fine one moment and like attacking the next, and like this huge dog was terrified of him. Which is hilarious to me that, like, you know, this little 10-pound cat is just ruling the roost over this 70, 80-pound dog. But then she put him in the basement to give her dog some time away from him, like to make sure that they had their own alone time. And one of the times when he was in the basement, he found some rat poison. And he ate that, because of course he did. So she brought him back in that day and was like, listen, he's too much for me, I can't handle this, I need you guys to take him back. So this is his second toxin ingestion. So I was like, okay, he's a special boy. He's gonna need a pet parent who works in vet med so that we can adequately take care of him. So I started looking for a new apartment so that I could take him on. And the clinic was like, we'll keep him here as long as you need until you get your new apartment. And so I think I met him in October, and I finally got to take him home in May. So I moved into my new apartment, and we had some squabbles at first because he was a little reactive and I was a little reactive because, you know, your early 20s and all that. One time he attacked my fiance's skull. We were, you know, doing that gross couple thing where you wrestle on the floor for funsies. And I must have yelled and this Ritz, he jumped on my fiance and bit him in the head. And I was like, well, first I was like, no! But after that he never did it again, and they get along just fine now. I don't know if my fiance's afraid of him now, just to keep a low profile. But yeah, now they're the best of buds and they like sleeping together. They're so cute. And so yeah, that's how I got my boy. And then a couple months after I got him, he ate one of my plastic bracelets. So he came back to the clinic and we waited to see if he would poop it out, and he never did. But here we are almost 5 years later. Still never found the other half of that bracelet. So I'm just convinced he has such strong stomach acid that he just dissolved it because he would. But he's 5.5 now, and it's really cool to have watched him grow up and get big and go through his own little life events. And gosh, I'm so lucky to have him in my life. He's a great cat, and he's really friendly with other people, which I did not expect him to be because of his earlier history. But it's just been so nice to have him as part of my life. He's been with me through the pandemic. He's been with me through wrestling and meeting my boyfriend, now fiance, and it's been a crazy ride, but I wouldn't have made it without my Ritzy, whose full name is Sheriff Ritz T Cat, and the T stands for the. That's my story of how I got my Ritzy boy. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you'd like to tell me about your pets, let me know. I'd love to see pictures of them if you have them. And we'll talk to you guys later. Alrighty, bye-bye.